why Manchester City need to sign Nicolo Barella from Inter Milan in the January window. Because he's a young player, I think he's like 26, 27, and not only would it be giving us cover for Rodri while he's out for the whole season. It's looking likely anyway. Because not only can he play as a 6, but he can also play as an 8. And I feel like that's what we've been lacking with the creativity from the midfield this season, because De Bruyne has obviously been out. Bernardo Silva's not really been on it this season, neither's Phil Foden so far. But Foden hasn't really played that many minutes, like in terms of like games where he's actually started. He's been coming off the bench a lot in a lot of his appearances this season so far. And Gundogan's getting on, because obviously we brought him back from Barcelona. He's 33, but he turns 34 this month. I just checked before recording this video. So we could do with an extra body within the midfield. Not only to recover for Rodri, but to get a bit more youth in the midfield. Because our midfield's not that young anymore, I don't think. We've got quite a few players that are either going into their 30s or in their 30s already. And he was very good at the Etihad, I thought, in the game we played them this season, 0-0. He was probably their best player. And we've been linked with Zubimendi as well from Real Sociedad. But buying a player off one good Euros tournament is a gamble. Some of the time it pays off, but then other times it doesn't. Like, for example, United bought Maguire off one good World Cup tournament for England, and what's he really done for them? Nothing. And it was the same for Amrabat. He had a good tournament for Morocco in the World Cup, and then he came to Man United and he's done basically nothing. So that's why I wouldn't really risk Zubimendi, because even though he's got a £60 million release clause, I feel like it's a risk, because up until that Euros in summer where Spain won it, no one really heard of him. Because before that Euros tournament, you never really saw big clubs going for him. That Euros campaign was what made the big clubs start looking at him. So that's telling me that going for him might be a risk, because he's only had one good Euros tournament. I've seen clips of him. He does look pretty good, but I feel like he's not as good of an option as Barella. And we've also been linked with this guy from Torino, I think. His name begins with I forget his name. His head's crossed my mind now. But for me, Barella's got to be the priority target for January. Even if it means paying more than what you want to pay for, you've got to get him, because he's the best of the players that we're looking at. He's better than Adam Wharton as well, who's also been rumoured. I don't really know whether we'd get Barella in January, because maybe like Inter Milan would like block transfers for him, but we've got to at least try, because he's the best option of the CDMs that have been on our shortlist. And he's the most proven as well. And he's got a lot of winning pedigree. He has won the league with Inter Milan. I think he's won their like sort of version of the FA Cup. And overall, he does look like a really good player. Baller. And he's world class. And he'd make our midfield much better, I think. Because I'm not saying our midfield's not good at the moment, but I feel like there's something just lacking within the midfield. In the CDM role, because obviously Rodri's out for the entire season. And I feel like there's something lacking within the sort of 8 role with the centre midfield, because obviously De Bruyne's been out, and like there's been a couple of players that have been underperforming, like Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden. Maybe we do give a go to James McAtee though, because I think it'd be nice to see him get a chance, because he looked good in that game against Bratislava when he came on for his cameo. He got a goal as well. We've got Spurs coming up in the Cup. Maybe that's when you could see maybe like Nunes get given a chance, Mateus Nunes, James McAtee. Because I want to win the Carabao Cup, obviously. But out of the 4 trophies that there are available, the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. The Carabao Cup's the one that means the least to me. But it would be nice to go through, because the last few times in the Carabao Cup we've got knocked out quite early. I think it was the quarters the year before last. And obviously last season we had to sort of give it up quite early, because if we'd have got to the quarterfinals, we would have got knocked out anyway, because we'd have to have played our youth team because of the Club World Cup. So, there's a chance to go for it this year, I suppose. But I wouldn't want to be playing like players like Haaland and stuff like that, because we don't want him to be getting injured just because we risked him in a game that... Well, it does mean a lot because there's a trophy on the line, and a trophy is a trophy at the end of the day, but I wouldn't, like, if you're going to start Haaland and players like that, KDB, don't play them for the full 90 minutes. And I'd like to see more of Savinho as well, because I think when he's played, he's looked really good, but what Pep's doing with him is, I think, is sort of bedding him in a bit, because he plays like one game, or like comes on in one game, but he's not getting like a full run of games, if you know what I mean. He's not playing like every couple of games in a row. But he's better than Doku, I think. He looks like he's got more in product than Doku. Because Doku, for me, he shows up against like the smaller clubs, but I'd like to see more from Doku when we play like the big clubs, like your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, Uniteds. Those are the sort of games where he needs to do more in, because those are the games that you look at that are going to be tougher. Because I know United haven't been good this season, but I feel like at some point this season they're going to get a new manager, which might give them a new manager bounce, and they might start getting a few better results and performances. So, yeah. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you all soon.